The first question is about how to improve sleep, in particular, how to improve deep sleep, that is sometimes called slow wave sleep. This was a question that was asked by Jack Pritchard, and they got a lot of upvotes. Now, we've done multiple full-length episodes of the Huberman Lab podcast on sleep and tools to improve sleep, including the Master Your Sleep episode and Perfect Your Sleep episode, as well as a toolkit that is available completely zero cost at hubermanlab.com. It's a downloadable PDF that lists out the behavioral tools and other tools that you can implement to improve your sleep. Now, Jack's question is specifically about how to improve deep sleep. He asks, I have a sleep analyzer and I typically observe that I get a lot of REM sleep, that is rapid eye movement sleep. For him, he says it's 30% of his total sleep is rapid eye movement sleep. But he asks, my deep sleep is often low, around 10%. And I would like to know if there are any science-backed protocols I can use to specifically increase my deep sleep. Okay, so for those of you that may not know, what is deep sleep? Now, deep sleep is sometimes referred to as slow wave sleep. That is, slow wave sleep and deep sleep are sometimes used interchangeably to describe the same thing. They aren't necessarily the same thing, but they fall under the same mechanistic umbrella. What is that mechanistic umbrella? Well, when you go to sleep at night, you cycle through a number of different stages of sleep. And in the early part of the night, I would say in the first half of your night or so, most of your sleep is going to be slow wave deep sleep. But then as you transition into the second half of your night, more of your sleep will be rapid eye movement sleep. Now that's the typical pattern that is observed when you're not disrupting your sleep architecture with things like caffeine and alcohol. We'll talk about caffeine and alcohol in a few minutes. Deep sleep, aka slow wave sleep, at least for sake of this conversation, is vitally important, in particular for repair of bodily tissues. During deep sleep, you secrete growth hormone. And in fact, you secrete growth hormone every night when you go to sleep. But most of that growth hormone release is restricted to the first half of your sleep night. The other feature of deep sleep is that the dreams that occur during deep sleep tend to be of a less emotional nature than the sorts of dreams that one experiences in rapid eye movement sleep. So just to give a broad top contour of what deep sleep, aka slow wave sleep, is really about, it tends to occur in the first half of the night. It also occurs in the second half of the night, but in the first half of the night, most of your sleep is going to be occupied by deep sleep, aka slow wave sleep. It is the time when your bodily tissues are repaired, in part by release of growth hormone, which is involved in metabolism, but also protein synthesis, muscle repair, repair of all cell types and tissues. And during deep sleep, your dreams tend to be somewhat mundane, sometimes a little bizarre, but typically not very emotionally loaded. That can change if you're dealing with a lot of emotionally laden circumstances in your waking life. But in general, the sleep and dreams that occur in the first part of the night is deep and it's not terribly emotionally ridden. Your body also goes through specific patterns of metabolism. Now, this relates to recent findings just this last year in which researchers monitored the output of people's breath and the various metabolic factors present in the breath, as well as through blood draws. So basically doing all this while people are asleep in a laboratory. And they observed that during the first half of the night, while people are in deep sleep, their body is actually metabolizing energy very differently than it does in the second half of the night. I'll come back to this in a little while, but this turns out to be very important for establishing your metabolism and the way you regulate insulin and blood glucose during the daytime. So all of this is to say that getting sufficient deep sleep, slow wave sleep, is vitally important. And Jack's asking how he can increase the amount of deep sleep that he's getting because by his sleep tracking method, he's observing far less deep sleep than rapid eye movement sleep. Now, that raises the question of how much deep sleep one should be getting overall. In general, the goal should be to balance the total amount of slow wave sleep and rapid eye movement sleep across the night. However, I would not want people to obsess over getting exactly 30% rapid eye movement sleep and exactly 30% slow wave sleep. Your body is much more resilient than that. But the closer those two numbers are to one another, the better overall architecture of your sleep. And he doesn't list out exactly how he's measuring his sleep. So I do want to put an asterisk on both the question and the answer I provide by stating that a lot of sleep trackers, whether or not they are Whoop trackers or Auras, or whether or not you're using a mattress-based or mattress cover-based sleep tracker like 8 Sleep or other, is using heart rate and heart rate variability and body movement to estimate or to kind of predict whether or not you're in slow wave sleep or rapid eye movement sleep. And that's because during rapid eye movement sleep, you tend to be in what's called atonia. You tend to be paralyzed. You can't move. And during slow wave sleep, that's not the case. But no matter what the sleep tracking method is, if it's a standard commercial sleep tracking method, Whoop, Aura, 8 Sleep, etc., it is an estimate or a best guess at what stage of sleep you're in. Whereas when you go into a sleep laboratory, like the sleep laboratory at Stanford, at University of Pennsylvania, or other of the great sleep laboratories that are out there, they're going to use other methods, including EEG and EMG. These are just acronyms that refer to ways to record brain waves. They actually are going to try and observe for rapid eye movements beneath the eyelids, etc. So sleep trackers give you a best guess as to what stage of sleep you're in. They are not perfectly accurate. At least none of the commercially available sleep trackers are perfectly accurate. So we do want to highlight that.